What's up, everyone? Anyways, I'm Josh Lang, and welcome to another episode of Pokemon TCG Deck Builders. Anyways, today's episode, obviously, I'm going to go ahead and go through my primary, I guess you could say my primary format, standard format deck for the game. And I'll explain a little bit what standard format is, and also what expanded format is, and I'll also explain to you why my deck is the way it is. With obviously it's going to consistently be changing throughout the time, but for now this is what I'm going to have. It's a standard deck actually, with 20 energy being 20 trainers, 20 monsters. That's why I plan on having it. Right now it's kind of different a little bit here and there, and I'm going to go ahead and go based off of my and just name off my characters in my deck for right now. Otherwise, let me go get my sheet real quick and I'll explain to you guys what expanded format is and what standard format is as well. Sorry about that. Anyways, guys, so this, if you guys see this is our 2017 TCG format rotation. As you can see, that standard format actually is what takes you all the way back to Primal Clash and X and Y Steam Sieges as far as it is so far. Any cards that come up from there will be legal. Anything older than that for standard format is illegal to use, so unless it's a reprint. Other than that, what makes it the expanded format is when you start using cards that go all the way back to black and white, and which is totally legal. So in the expanded format, but to get to Worlds, you need to be in standard format, and basically any of those top dog ones you have to be standard format. So yeah, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started, guys, and I'll show you a little bit what my deck is, and I'll explain to you what it means to have a Pokemon deck. So anyways, let's go ahead and just read off these Pokemon cards first. So we got Bunnelby, we got Xanius times 3, we got Xanius EX, Hoopa EX, Shaman EX, Steelix EX, Sylveon EX times 3, Gardevoir EX times 3, Mega Steelix EX, Mega Gardevoir EX times 3. Now for my trainers, I have Chaos Tower, Ultra Ball, Repeat Ball, Mega Turbo, Super Rod, Fisherman, Energy Recycler, Steelix, Spirit Link, Galvador, Gardevoir, Spirit Link times 3, Pokemon Fan Club, Pokemon Center Lady, Steven, Team Flare Grant, Olympia times 2, and Shauna times 2. Now for my energies, I got 4 double colorless energy, 3 psychic energy, 7 metal energy, and 9 fairy energy in this deck, which makes up to 60, obviously, as you guys know. And so yeah, let's go ahead and slightly change this camera downward so I can go ahead and explain to you guys what these cards are. And anyway, so this is a standard format deck, so it's for tournaments, and it's very tournament legal. What I have here is a deck that's mainly, obviously, as you guys see, colorless, and it's a lot of colorless. It's a very strong fairy deck, and it's metal deck, obviously. So, but it's mainly a fairy deck for multiple reasons. My deck is meant to heal my Pokemon at a given time, and to discard my cards, and then retrieve those energies that I discard, so I can keep on using them without having to worry about anything. So yeah, let's go ahead and go on to my first card. So this is Bunnelby. What makes him such a good card, even though he doesn't have very many attacks, Bunnelby is a very interesting card. Okay, he's got 60 HP, but if you need to use him for later in the game, it's pretty interesting. Like I said, his first attack is Borrow, and discard the top card of your opponent's deck. Pretty self-explanatory. And Rototiller, shuffle a card from your discard pile into your deck. So that's one of the cards that allows me later on to go ahead and just revive one of my cards I have in my discard pile. And very good card. It's got 2 retreat costs, so not that big of a deal, but he's a good card to have just for those abilities. Now we got Xerneas. I have 3 Xerneases, obviously, as you guys seen. They're all the same abilities, so don't worry too much. But these ones are actually from the X and Y base, and this is from this is from Steam Siege. Now, the reason why I'm allowed to use these ones is because they're reprints of what this is the reprint of these ones. Therefore, I'm allowed to use the older cards in the standard format deck and not be illegal because it's the same, obviously, same attacks. Different picture, but same attacks, same HP, same retreat cost, weakness, and resistance. So everything else is the same. Anyways, the thing I like about Xerneas, even though he's not super greatest card in the world, but the thing I like about Xerneas is just his card effects. Now, one of his card effects is Geomancy. It says to choose 2 of your bench Pokemon. For each of those Pokemon, search your deck for a Fairy Energy card and attach it to that Pokemon. Shuffle your deck afterwards. Really good card there, especially if you're looking to set your deck up. And then his next ability, even though it's kind of costly, it's good, but you could actually win the game with this. And he does a pretty powerful attack. He says, Rainbow Sphere, discard an energy attached to this Pokemon. So it does 100 damage. You just discard one of the energies. And obviously, as you guys seen, I have Energy Retriever and Fisherman, so it allows me to go ahead and retrieve those lost energies and put them back in either in my deck or into my hand. So it's really not very cost effective when you have those cards in there. Very strategic if you know how to use them too. Okay, now we got the next card, obviously, is my Xerneas EX card. And I actually plan on getting 2 of them in here. So one of the, I believe it's going to be the Olympias I'm going to get rid of and then swap it out with this Xerneas EX. Because tomorrow I'm going to pick up another Xerneas EX tin and get the updated one and use that. Now this Xerneas EX card is pretty interesting. Even though he doesn't have that much more HP than the other basic Xerneas card, this card does, it says Breakthrough. It says this attack does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Doesn't apply weakness or resistance for bench Pokemon. So the chances are I won't be using that unless I keep on doing a lot of benched attacks. Like if I were to use my Hoopa EX and throw that out there and do 100 damage. Or if that Pokemon's weak, then I'll go ahead and use the bench. But chances are I ain't going to do that. The attack that I'm looking for on this Xerneas EX is not only am I looking for... not only am I looking for a high HP, that he has 170 HP, but I'm also looking for that high attack, and that's X-Blast. This Pokemon can't use X-Blast during the next turn. Not a big deal, but so that's where you would use like Breakthrough in that attack. Pretty cool card. He is tournament legal. Obviously, we have he's I can't see that. It says X and Y promo, so you're allowed to use it because the new one is just got reprinted, so you're allowed to use this. And that one's like 170. This is X and Y 07, but the next one is like a reprint, so you can still use that Xerneas EX. Besides that, that Xerneas EX also got reprinted in one of the newer decks as well, so he's tournament legal, and because I believe it's X and Y promo 63 and up, and so yeah. So this Hoopa is X and Y promo 71, so he's legal regardless. The good thing about this Hoopa, not only does he have 170 HP and stuff, but he's got a fairly interesting attack. That's his only attack that he has is called Hyperspace Fury. It says discard 2 of 10 energies attached to this Pokemon. This attack does 100 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Doesn't apply weakness or resistance for bench Pokemon, but it does 100 damage regardless. It doesn't matter what Pokemon you use on their field. You just do 100 damage. But that's not why I have him here, but that's why I do have 3 Psychic Energy in my deck. It's for that purpose. If I have to resort to that, then I will. But more than likely, would I have Hoopa EX in here? Why I only have 1? Because I don't want to have more than 1. But it's the fact that his ability called Scoundrel Ring allows him to to summon EX Pokemon, and it says when you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you may search your deck for up to 3 Pokemon EX, except for Hoopa EX, obviously. Reveal them and put them into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. So it's a really, 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 really good card to use, especially when you're looking to get like a Shaman EX, which you'll see next. It's a very strong tournament-winning card. Or let's say if you got the Spirit Link and you're looking for Gravidar, Mega Gravidar EX, or something that you need in your deck to go ahead and fight. He would be continually on your deck, but you're allowed to have up to 6 Pokemon in your deck, so on your bench. So or is it? It's either 6 or it's no, it's more than 6. It's I believe either I think it's 8 actually, 8 Pokemon on your bench. So yeah. Now we got, here is Shaman EX. Now Shaman EX is a strong tournament card. There's a reason why this card is worth $100. Not only is this a full art, but the reason why this card is worth $100 is not really because it's the full art, because there's a lot of full art cards out there. They're obviously not worth anything, but the reason why this card's worth $100 is mainly primarily due to the fact of his abilities, and everyone uses Shaman EX in their deck. If you want to be competitive, you have to have at least one Shaman EX in your deck with this ability. Okay, so his abilities is set up. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you may draw cards until you have 6 cards in your hand. And then if you are forced to use Shaman EX as an attacker, you got Sky Return. You use 2 energies, obvious colorless. It says return this Pokemon and all cards attached to it to your hand. Not only does he do 30 damage to your opponent, but you're allowed to take all the cards attached to Shaman and bring them back to your hand and win that way without him being knocked out. And he has 110 HP, so he's got a nifty amount of HP before he gets knocked out. Steelix EX. He's not only is he tanky, he's a metal, one of my few metal cards I have in here. And he uses a lot of energy, which is why I have 20 energy, 20 trainers, and 20 Pokemon, is because of the high intensive use of energies in this deck. I usually don't do that in most of my decks. In fact, if you see my Mewtwo one, I only have like, I think 10 energies. But this one, I really need a lot, obviously, due to Steelix and due to my other Pokemon that I have in this deck, but mainly Steelix is the main pusher here, especially his Mega form. But if you can get him out there, he does some interesting attacks, like Wild Edge, for instance. You may do 50 more damage if you do that. If you do, this Pokemon does 20 damage to itself. So not only are you doing 80 damage, but it does 50 more damage if you choose to. It may do 20 damage to your Pokemon, but overall, you're doing a buttload of damage here. And you know, when you're going up against people that have that much HP, I mean, when you're doing 130 HP damage straight out of the get-go, that's pretty hard to go ahead and not use. So the other ability, which makes him OP if you get lucky, is this flip a coin, which is Iron Tail. Flip a coin until you get tails. This attack does 100 damage times the number of heads. So it's 100 times the number of heads that you have in that deck. I mean, in that card's luck. So you may get a tails right off the bat, so it does nothing. Or you may get 2 tails, so it does 200 damage. Or you might do 3 tails and you get 300 damage. It determines how many tails, how many heads you get until you get tails. And that's why it's not the greatest attack, but you know what? When it does the 80 that's as a base attack, that's pretty strong. And then if you choose to do another 50, if you want to have a knockout, if you need it, and then you do 20 damage to yourself, not a big deal. Whoopie-doo. You can always heal yourself some way, somehow, or bench him if he gets low on HP and still win. So the only problem is with Steelix EX is that he has 4 retreat costs, and that is a bugger, unfortunately. So, but otherwise he's a really good card. Tanky, but really good card. And he's a pig when it comes to energies, obviously. So now we have my Sylveon EX cards. Sylveon EX. They're all the same, so that's obviously I'm just kind of just showing you guys them. But Sylveon EX, the interesting about Sylveon EX is that he has not only 170 HP, so again tanky, but He's got this ability called Dress Up. If this Pokemon has a Pokemon Tool card attached to it, this attack does 30 more damage. So it does up to 60 damage on the first attack. And then the second one, which is Precious Ribbon, does 100 damage as a base damage. It says move a fairy energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon. If you do, heal 50 damage from that Pokemon. So again, there's another way to go ahead and heal your other Pokemon. Sylveon is a great card to use in your deck if you've got a fairy deck, and I highly suggest you guys use him. Now this Gravidar, Gravidar is a different card, so I'm going to show it separately than the other two that are in here. But this one is, the reason why I have two different ones is because you want to have that competitive space in there and to be able to do more than just one card to have to rely on. But this is the lesser of the other two, so this is a more uncommon card I have of Gravidar EX. Same HP as the other one, but different attacks. So this Pokemon is Link Blast. It says if this Pokemon in your opponent's active Pokemon had the same amount of energy attached to them, this attack does 70 more damage. So it can do 30 plus 70, so for a total of 100 damage if you get lucky. Chances are a lot of times your opponent does have the same amount, so you know it'd be a good ability to use. Then you got Luminous Blade, which says discard an energy card to attach to this Pokemon. 120 damage, just boom boom, real quick. Obviously, and that's why I have so much energy retrievals and all that stuff, so I can get back all those energies. Why I have such a high demand of energy in this deck too. So, and obviously we got Gravidar EX, as you guys can see. Gravidar EX, again, this next one, he only has Fairy Energy, so it's kind of a crappy card to have if you don't have enough energy, which is why, again, I put so much energy from Fairy in here, but, and why I have another Gravidar EX in here that does something different. But if you look at it, one of them only uses one fairy, the other one uses 3, and there's cards that allows me to go ahead and grab those energies, so if I need to use it, I can. And you have to have this at least one of the Gravidars in order to get the Mega, so obviously I had to put these in my deck. They're very important for this deck since my main deck surrounds its theme against a Gravidar. So if you look at its first attack, it says Life Leap. It says does 20 damage. It says a heal from this Pokemon the same amount of damage you did to your opponent's active Pokemon. So if you were to like put like a damage thing on there that allows it to do 20 more damage, you'd be able to heal 40 damage, boom boom, or 20 damage, boom boom, just with that attack. So Gravidar is awesome. The fact that he can do self-healing if he needs to redo it. Then you got Shining Wind. And this does a base of 100 damage. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon has no weakness. That's interesting because weakness is obviously metal. So if it's up against a metal deck, there's no weakness against that Pokemon when you use that attack, which is really, really good. The chances are for someone to have a metal deck is pretty rare still. Not very many people use decks that are metal only. So, I mean, they're usually obviously dual elements like I have here. This is Mega Steelix EX, and he's just super OP, super tanky as crap. 240 HP, dual element, and he obviously uses a lot of energies, but he also has a high retreat cost. So it's better for you to go ahead and let Mega Steelix EX be knocked out than to have to waste all those energies in this point if you were to get Mega Steelix EX and out. But why I like Mega Steelix EX is because of his attack. It does a base of 160 damage, and on top of that, it says this attack does 10 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. It doesn't apply weakness and resistance to bench Pokemon. So not only is he doing 160 damage, but he's also doing 10 damage to each of the bench Pokemon. That's pretty insane, pretty crazy, and that's awesome. Next card we have is Mega Gravidar EX. Obviously, I had 3 of them, so and they're imperative to use in this deck. Obviously, Mega Gravidar EX has 210 HP, and it's pretty tanky. And the cool thing about Mega Gravidor EX is his ability. So it says, Brilliant Arrow. This attack does 30 damage times the amount of fairy energy attached to all of your Pokemon. That's all your bench Pokemon. So if you have all 9 fairy energies out there, so it does 30 times 9, which, let me use my calculator here because I can't do that in my head. A total of 270 damage. That's pretty ridiculous. That's like a one-hit knockout instantly for any type of Pokemon out there. But yeah, Gravidor is just a massively crazy attack. And that's also shiny Mega Gravidor because of the color on them. If you guys know what shiny is. Most of you Pokemon fans out there know it, so that's cool. And if you guys know anything about the rules of EX cards, is that if an EX Pokemon card gets knocked out, Mega or Basic, the opponent takes two cards instead of just one for a normal Pokemon. Now, the Mega's rules is that you lose your turn immediately. Like, your turn ends when you get that Pokemon card out. But obviously, if you have Spirit Links out there, which I do, you can counter that, and I'll talk to you about that when it gets up to it. So now we're going to go into my trainers. And the next one I have is my Chaos Tower. Now, let me go ahead and read this Chaos Tower for you. It's an interesting card, but Chaos Tower says, choose which way this card faces before you play it. This Pokemon can't be asleep or paralyzed. If the Pokemon's are already asleep or paralyzed, remove those special conditions. The other side says, choose which way this card faces before you play it. This player's Pokemon can't be confused or poisoned. If this Pokemon is already confused or poisoned, remove those special conditions. Now, stadium cards are interesting because what their effects are at the bottom. It says this card stays in play when you play it. Discard the card if another stadium card comes into play. If another card at the same name is in play, you can't play this card. But obviously, Chaos Tower is a really good one because it prevents weaknesses and stuff that you don't have to worry about. Great card to use, especially when you're going up against opponent that has a counter for that. Now we got Ultra Ball as my next trainer. I usually typically put 4 of them in there, but for this deck in particular, I don't need it because I have specific cards in here that won't really need it. But Ultra Ball is a good card. It says discard 2 cards from your hand. If you can't discard 2 cards, then you can't play this card. Search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. Obviously, pretty self-explanatory. Allows you to search for one specific card that you need. Now, Repeat Ball. Really good card. Again, Repeat Ball, search your deck for a Pokemon with the same name as one of your Pokemon in play. Reveal it and put it into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. Obviously, it's pretty self-explanatory. Mega Turbo, interesting card. This could be a game changer. Just one card. It says attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to one of your Mega Evolution Pokemon. So, yeah, it could be definitely a game changer since Mega Evolutions usually use a lot of energy, and you might need that energy to win. Good card, though. Very good card. I suggest put more than one in your deck, but unfortunately I can't with this deck. It won't let me. Super Rod, another good card. It says shuffle 3 in any combination of Pokemon and basic energy cards from your discard pile into your deck. So you can have either one Pokemon, 2 energy, 1 Pokemon. Obviously, 1 energy, 2 energy, 1 energy, 2 Pokemon. You know, any combination, you can go ahead and take that from your discard pile into your deck. Pretty self-explanatory, really good card. It allows you to reshuffle your cards from your discard pile instead of running out of your cards. Obviously, because if you run out of your cards at the end of the game, then you automatically lose. If you go through, you have 0 cards in your deck, it's game over that next turn. So, because you can't draw any more cards and it's game over. Fisherman's a really good card, and what this guy allows us to do is to put 4 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your hand. Pretty simple, easy, great card to use. Next one's similar to it, but it's a little bit different. It's Energy Recycler. Shuffle 5 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your deck. So instead of your hand, instead of 4, you get 5, and it goes into your deck instead of your hand. But again, it's another way to recycle your cards, your energies that you need. Now we got Steelix Spirit Link. So remember when I said that Mega Evolution makes you instantly end your turn when you put it out there? Well, if you got the Spirit Links out there, like this Steelix Spirit Link here, your end does not turn. It says your turn does not end if the Pokemon this card is attached to becomes Mega Steelix EX. Pretty self-explanatory. Now, I got 3 of the Gravitar Spirit Links, obviously, for multiple reasons. But, again, your turn doesn't end if this card is attached to, it becomes a Mega Gravitar EX. It's a Spirit Link. So, if you got a Mega Gravitar or any type of Mega Pokemon in your deck, you need to have those Spirit Links if they are available. Now, the only ones that I know that don't have them are like the Mega Charizard, Mega Venusaur, and Mega Blastoise. But those are coming, I believe, in the next couple months. So keep an eye out for those guys and change your decks accordingly. Pokemon Fan Club. It's a supporter card. It says search your deck for up to 2 Pokemon, basic Pokemon, reveal them, and put them in your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. So it's a great way to look at your deck again to see what's coming up. And then, obviously, you got to shuffle them, but know what you have in the rest of your card, in your decks. But also to pull out 2 cards that are Pokemon. Either EX or basic, doesn't matter. Just any type of basic Pokemon from your deck. So, that's a great card. Pokemon Center Lady, pretty self-explanatory. Really good card to have. Heal 60 damage and remove all special conditions from one of your Pokemon. So yeah, and the thing about supporter cards, obviously, you can only use 1 supporter card per turn. It's just how it is. With tools, on the other hand, you can use as many as you want. If it's an attachment tool, you can only have 1 attachment tool to 1 Pokemon at a time as well. So that's the rule in that. Steven! Search your deck for a supporter card and a basic energy card. Reveal them and put them in your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. Really good card. Obviously, self-explanatory. Look for that supporter card you need. Team Flare Grant. Okay, this card, it's a very good, could be a game changer determining how you use it. And it could be not a game changer determining how you use it. But anyways, discard energy attached to one of your opponent's active Pokemon. I usually recommend to have 3 of those in your deck at least. Because of you can prevent your opponent from using a deadly attack or a one-hit KO. Maybe even for 1 turn, or prevent them from even attacking for that turn. So that's how good that card is. Olympia, I have 2 of those girl cards, obviously. So Olympia is an interesting card. Now, it's kind of like Switch, but it's better. So switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. If you do, heal 30 damage from the Pokemon you moved to your bench. So the active Pokemon that may be like hurt, and then you decide to switch it, you switch that Pokemon that's from your active that's been out in the fight, and let's say he has 150 damage out of 170. Well, you switch it, you put it on your bench, now you just healed 30 damage from the 150 damage he had, so he's down to 120 damage instead of 150. So it could be a game changer again. That's why I have 2 of them in there, but it's another way to heal my Pokemon. And then we have Shauna. I have 2 of them, obviously, but Shauna is a really good card. Instead of like a Professor Sycamore where you discard your whole hand and you draw 7 cards, we're going to go the safe route on this deck. And it says shuffle your hand into your deck, then draw 5 cards. So you may not get 7, but 5 cards is sufficient. And instead of losing all those cards, you just shuffle them right back in the deck. Could be, again, another game changer because you can search for the card that you need badly. And then, obviously, we're coming down to our last bit where the energies are. Now, you're wondering, why do I have 4 different energies here from all different sets? Well, Double Colorless Energy has been reprinted time and time again, and just got recently reprinted. So you're allowed to reuse Double Colorless Energy. You're allowed to have up to 4 of them, only because it's a special type of energy, but it allows me to have up to 2 colorless energy, obviously. So instead of the cost of 1, you get 4. You get 2. So when you have 4 of them, it's there to use. Obviously, it's a very good energy card to have, but it's not a need. But instead of having because you can only attach one energy per turn. So if you could put 2 energies on there for the cost of 1, you know, that's awesome. Obviously, 3 psychic energy for my Hoopa if I ever have to resort to them. And my 7 metal energies, obviously, for whatever cards. I mean, they could be even attached to your fairy type. Just energies are there for energies, but just for my Steelix, I need to at least have a couple of them, which is why I went high on them. And then obviously my 9 fairy energy, as you guys can see here, which is obviously for that deck is required to have it. So anyways, guys, that is all I have for today. And if you guys have any more questions, anything, concerns, hit me up on Pokemon Deck Builders here on my channel, or even on Facebook and Twitter, or Google Plus and Instagram, wherever you guys may find me. I'm going to be here for you guys regardless. I'm just doing this to help you guys out. So if you guys want to copy my deck, go ahead. But, you know, the deck building is only half the battle in Pokemon TCG, obviously, as most of you guys know, because it's knowing your cards and when to use them and how to use them. So that's the other half, and a lot of it deals with luck, but luckily some of the decks that I've made don't deal with luck as much, and it just deals with a lot of strategic know-hows. But just remember that, and have fun. Most of all, Pokemon TCG is meant to have fun, even if you're in a competitive field. So, peace out, guys. Bye.